So you want to own a Formula One team. You have watched Drive to Survive on Netflix. You have seen the glitz of Monaco, the super yachts, the celebrities, the drivers treated like rock stars. You have watched brands like Ferrari and Mercedes become synonymous with global excellence. It looks like the ultimate billionaire's playground, a world where speed meets infinite capital. But here is what the cameras don't show you. Behind the carbon fiber lies a business model so brutal, so unforgiving that it makes owning an airline or gold mine looks like the child's play. In the past, Formula One was literally called a black hole for money. It was vanity project, a place where legends and billionaires went to slowly go bankrupt. Frank Williams mortgaged everything he had. Caterham collapsed mid-season. Marussia couldn't even pay their staff. But something changed. Today, thanks to a radical shift in Concordia Agreement and the introduction of a cost cap, these teams have transformed from money pits into billion-dollar assets. Teams that were worth $200 million 5 years ago are now valued at over a billion. But the entry fee alone would still make a shopping mall owner sweat. To understand how 10 teams dominate the most expensive sport on earth, we have to look the past, the finish line, and the deep into the balance sheets. This is the hidden math of the fastest business in the world. Chapter 1: The Admission Fee. In most businesses, you can simply buy land, get a permit, and start. Open a gym, build a gas station, set up a dealership, the market is open. In Formula One, you cannot just start a team, you have to be invited. Formula One is a closed ecosystem, and deliberately so. Currently, there are only 10 slots on the grid. If you want to bring an 11th team in, you have to pay what is called an anti-dilution fee. As of now, that fee is $200 million. Why? Because your entry splits the prize money pool into 11 pieces instead of 10. You are essentially paying the existing teams for the right to compete against them and take their money. And here is the kicker. The teams are currently lobbying to raise this fee to 600 million or even $1 billion just to get a seat at the table. But the anti-dilution fee is just the beginning. Suppose you pay it. Now you need a base of operations. Most teams are located in the UK's Motorsport Valley, a cluster of towns in Oxfordshire and Northamptonshire, where the engineering talent is dense and the supply chain is nearby. You are not just building a garage, you are building a aerospace-grade manufacturing plant. The wind tunnel alone costs $50 to $100 million to construct, and once it is built, it costs thousands of dollars per hour just to run. Every test session is burning money. The factory needs CNC machines, autoclaves for carbon fiber layups, and supercomputers running computational fluid dynamics simulations 24 hours a day. The simulation software license alone costs millions annually. Total infrastructure, capex, you are looking at $250 million to $400 million before you have hired a single engineer or built a single car part. Think of it like an AI data center. Your hardware is your greatest asset and your greatest liability. If your wind tunnel is even slightly miscalibrated, if your CFD model has a flaw in its baseline assumptions, your entire $400 million investment produces the wrong answers. And you won't know it until you are the 18th on the grid. Chapter 2: The $15 million asset, the car. Now let's talk about the actual product, the car. A regular car dealership sells thousands of vehicles a year. An F1 team builds exactly two main chassis per season. Two cars, that's it. And those two cars carry the entire commercial destiny of the team. A single F1 car costs roughly $15 to $20 million in raw parts alone, but that number is deeply misleading. Because if you include the years of research and development that went into designing those parts, the real cost of producing the first car is in the hundreds of millions of dollars. Let us break it down. The power unit, the engine, is not even something most teams build themselves. You rent it from a manufacturer like Mercedes, Ferrari, or Renault. The cost 50 to $20 million per season just for the engine supply. You are paying rent on the heart of your car. The chassis and aero is where you own engineers and their salary. A single front wing, that piece of curved carbon fiber at the nose of the car, cost $150,000. If your driver clips a wall on the first lap of the first corner, that is the price of a luxury house, destroyed in under a second. The steering wheel is not a wheel, it is a handheld computer with over 20 buttons, switches, and a rotatory dial. Cost 50,000 to $1 lakh each. The halo, that titanium arch above the driver's head that has saved multiple lives, $17,000. But the biggest hidden cost is not any single component. It is what teams call iterative development. In F1, you do not build a car once and race it all year. Every single race weekend, you are expected to bring upgrades, new aero packages, revised suspension geometry, updated software. Teams spend $1 to $2 million per race just on new parts and development updates. Miss a few upgrade cycles and you drop 3 positions in the standings. In F1, standing still is mathematically the same as moving backward. Chapter 3: The Global Grind. Even if you build the perfect car, you still have to take it around the world 24 times a year. Operating an F1 team is logistical operation that rivals a mid-size airline. A top-tier team like Red Bull or Mercedes employs between 800 and 1,200 people. Aerodynamists, structural engineers, data scientists, software developers, composite technicians, strategists, and commercial staff. Average engineering salaries range from 80,000 to $150,000 a year. Multiply that across 1,000 employees and you are looking at 100 to $150 million in annual payroll before you touch anything else. Then there are the drivers. A rookie might earn $1 million a season, but a proven superstar, a Max Verstappen, a Lewis Hamilton, commands to 40 to $50 million per year. The driver's salary is the one major cost that sits entirely outside the budget cap, which means it can spiral without a ceiling. And then there is the circus itself. 24 races, 5 continents, every 2 weeks your team packs 50 tons of equipment, cars, spare parts, pit equipment, portable server racks, and the motorhome, which is essentially a flat pack 5-star hotel assembled in the paddock. Between air freight for fly-away races and sea freight for the European rounds, a team spends 10 to $15 million a year just on transport and logistics. On top of that, the hospitality. At every race, teams run a full catering operation for sponsors, partners, and VIP guests. This marketing expense alone can reach $5 million a season. This is not just a sport, it's a global touring production, and it runs on an enormous unrelenting budget. Chapter 4: The Revenue Streams. So with all of this spending, how does any team stay solvent? There are 3 main pillars of revenue, and together, for the first time in F1 history, they are actually working. Pillar 1: Prize money. F1 generates billions of dollars through global TV rights, race hosting fees, and digital deals. This money flows back to the teams through Concordia Agreement. Every team that competed in the previous 2 seasons gets an equal baseline share, roughly $35 million each. On top of that, finishing position determines a second payout. The Constructors' Champions takes home over 70 million. Even the last place team receives around 30 million and Ferrari receives a special heritage bonus, a legacy payment simply for being Ferrari worth up to $35 million extra per season. Pillar 2: Sponsorship. This is where the serious money lives. A title sponsor like Oracle for Red Bull or Petronas for Mercedes pays 30 to $50 million per year just to have their logo on the car and their names in the team title. Technical partners, companies like HP, AWS, or Cognizant pay in services and cash in exchange for association with the data and engineering story. And then there is the pay driver model used by smaller teams, a driver who brings 15 to 30 million dollars of personal sponsorship money and essentially subsidizes the team's season. Pillar 3. The cost cap revolution. This is the single most important structural change in F1 history. Before 2021, top teams like Mercedes and Red Bull spent 400 to 450 million dollars per season. There was no limit. The sport was a spending arm race that smaller teams could never win. Then, the FIA introduced a cost cap of roughly $140 million per season. Overnight, the financial model changed. Spending was capped, but revenue from sponsorships and prize money kept growing. For the first time, teams started generating real profit margins of 10 to 20%. The enterprise values of teams like Alpine and Aston Martin more than tripled in 4 years. Formula One stopped being a money pit and started being an asset class. So, is owning a Formula One team a good investment? 10 years ago, the answer was an unambiguous no. It was the fastest way for a billionaire to become a millionaire. But today, an F1 team is a high utility asset, finite, globally visible, and appreciating. When Audi enters the sport, they did not start from scratch, they acquired Sauber. When General Motors backed a team, they bought into an existing entry because there are only 10 slots and the demand is only growing. The price goes up every year. You are not buying monthly cash flow, you are buying globally recognized brand, a finite competitive license, and a front row seat to the future of mobility technology. But do not forget, this is a still business where a zero point 0.1 second delay in a pit stop can cost you a $20 million sponsorship bonus, where one wrong aerodynamic call can waste an entire development season, where engineering, finance, and global politics collide at 300 kilometers per hour. So, if you have a spare billion, a high tolerance for pressure, and you do not mind a few sleepless nights doing math at 200 miles per hour, the grid is waiting. Thanks for watching. If you want to see the economics of more elite businesses like private jets, cruise ships, sports, franchise, subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.